Hi everyone, today we're making another goat's milk soap. I'm making 4 goat's milk soaps. This is my third video that I'm uploading about them. There's my milk. I freeze my milk and store it in these bags. You see I labeled the weight, 15.8 ounces. And that way when I have time to soap, my milk is frozen and ready to go. I always work with my milk from frozen so it doesn't burn on me. So there's my ice cube milks. The colors I'm going to use: hydrated chrome green oxide. That's from Candor Soap Supplies. And I'm also going to use titanium dioxide for my white to create a minty green on the top of the soap. I'm not putting too much of colors in the batter, the main batter. This is for piping the top. There you see I've got the piping ready there on the right. I'm putting it aside. I always make a batch, a 2-pound batch first for piping. Now we'll add the lye slowly. This will take about 30 minutes. So we're about half an hour later now, and I've got my lye all in the milk mixture, and I'm just waiting for the ice cubes to dissolve, and I want to be sure that the lye has reacted with the milk. I'm checking my temperatures. I was 74 Fahrenheit on the milk and lye and 87 Fahrenheit on the oils. So I'm within 10 degrees. That's usually my goal. I mean, I'm almost within 10 degrees. So to be close to 10 is my goal. So I'm happy with that. My milk's going to heat up as it sits there for a moment as well. I haven't finished stirring it. I'm adding my essential oils. With goat's milk, I like to keep them natural. So I like to use essential oils when I can. You'll see in my lilac soap that I used a fragrance oil. That's because there is no essential oil for lilac. It doesn't have oils, like lavender does. So, and I have had success selling lilac scent. So I want to continue to make the lilac soap. This year I gave it a twist and made the goat's milk version. But for all the others, I consider them my homesteader soaps. So I want to keep them natural with essential oils instead of fragrance oils. So here's my blend is added of tea tree and mint that I added straight to the oils. I'm kind of blending it in now. Checking my temperature again. And I feel I'm ready now to add the milk. I should check it one more time and make sure that we're still at 87 there. Make sure that I've got all the lye crystals dissolved. Checking 76 on the milk. So I'm ready to add the milk and lye solution to my oils. Now for safety, what I do, you'll see me in the background when I'm finished here, because I have cats, I take that container there of the lye solution and I rinse it out. I dilute it crazy with water because you don't want to ruin your plumbing with these high lye solutions. So I use dishwasher detergent and tons of water to dilute out the lye and get that container clean behind me so my cats don't come and get their paws into it or something. I also will have then after making a mess there. After doing that in the sink behind me, I put it in the dishwasher for safety as well. So just that's how I clean up. Everyone seems to have a different cleanup method. That is mine, and it's been working here for no problems for over a year in our new house. So I think my cleanup method is working well for me. My number one safety concern in my house is my cats. So it's also, you'll see I have a lot of paper around and a lot of paper towels. And that is why I have cats that I can't keep off counters. They were strays, and it was a downhill battle trying to win the battle of the cat on the counter problem. So, all right, yeah, the truth is the cats rule the house. So, yeah, the cats rule my house. They go wherever they want to go, basically. And it's my job to keep my counters clean. And when I'm soaping, they're usually busy doing something else, never in the area. My orange one will sometimes sit and watch, so which is cute. When he's around, I pull up a chair for him, and he sits in the chair and watches Mama do her work. So he's so darn cute. Maybe I'll show you a shot of him in his little chair at the end of this. So my stick blender, this solution thickened up on me. Probably from the mint. It's tea tree and mint essential oils in there, and it came to trace very quickly on me, even though I had added it to the oils. So this, what you're looking at there in the Pyrex, is a 4-pound recipe. So I think I'm going to separate it out to get a little bit of interest in the soap rather than it's just pure batter. It smelled wonderful, and after cutting, it still smells wonderful. So I'm very happy with this. Last year I made this soap with no color, and it was just pure tea tree. I called it my hippie soap, and I tried to sell it as a natural soap. Good. It's good for your skin. It's good for acne. It's a wonderful soap. I use it myself. It didn't sell well. People were not that interested in it. And what I think was just on my sales table, next to all my other soaps, it's not so much that people didn't want this soap, but the other ones were just more interesting to them. So, because I love this soap and I want people to try it, this year I've added mint to tone down the tea tree smell. Some people don't like the smell of tea tree so much, but tea tree is so good for your skin that I still want them to give it a try for the health benefits. So I've toned down the smell with mint. And the other change I'm making this year is I'm adding the piping of green to the top. So I've added some red there. It's peppermint. So peppermint is still a green leaf, but psychologically, everyone's always thinking that peppermint is red because of candy cane and Christmas time. So I have a bit of red going on and green and lots of just the natural batter. It's really thickening up, Megan. I wish you get this in the mold. So adding some red to that. Stirring it up. All right, get to work, Megan. Look how thick that is. What's the matter with you? I'm getting my mold now. I must be. Come on, girl. There we go. My mold's ready with my freezer paper. I know some people might find my tape, overdone tape thing there odd. I love cutting things and taping things, so one of my favorite things about soaping is lining my mold. I just sit and enjoy lining. I have two of these 4-pound wooden molds, so I enjoy cutting the freezer paper, and I cut tiny pieces of tape and make sure the corners are tightened. I don't want to get soap under it, so I know some people are more talented and they can just fold it and they don't get soap under the freezer paper, but for now I'm happy taping. I enjoy it. So I haven't seen too many other people with all this tape on their freezer paper, but I enjoy it. So I will continue. So I've added touch of the green mint to the body of the soap. So like I mentioned, I'm trying to make this soap. It's not very different at all from last year's soap. I'm trying to make it more interesting looking so people will give it a try rather than be seduced by my colorful, fruity flavored soaps or fancy embeds on the others. So, touch of the pink. You see when I do my cutting video that this didn't show up at all. You can barely see any wisps of pink. So it gave it a little bit of interest, but not as much as I wanted. I'm going to go bang it down now. So periodically, I bang down my mold on my counter, and this gets out the air bubbles. So that's what I'm off doing in the distance. I have decided that 20 times is the perfect amount of times to bang your mold on the counter. I wonder if everyone has their own perfection that they've decided that this is how many times you should bang a mold on the counter, or also do other people count? I don't know. So here you see my beautiful mess. I'm ready now for piping the top. You might notice that I use these yogurt containers a lot. That's because my husband loves this yogurt, so what I do is I just ask him to save the containers and I use them for separating my colors. They're perfect for me. I do work in the environmental field, so I like the reduce, reuse, recycle concept. When you can reuse a material, you reduce its footprint on the planet because you just keep using the same thing over and over again. Therefore, the act of creating that product has a lower footprint. So I like to reuse things, even clothing. I like to buy used clothing. I have no problems with that. You can find pretty cool stuff in the Valley Village. So half the stuff in the stores doesn't fit me right anyway, so why should I spend so much money on it? So before I pipe here, I saw what you see there. This is my 2-pound batch that I'd set aside. I love the color. It's exactly what I wanted. A minty, it's like those mint candies. That's what I wanted. To remind you of those mint candies. It wasn't ready for piping, but I'm impatient. So I'm just building up some volume. I'm going to pipe later, so I just wanted to build up volume while I'm waiting because I was very impatient. I should learn patience. It's a virtue. So I feel now my piping's thicker. It's ready to go. It took about an hour, half an hour. Okay, it took half an hour. It was set for half an hour while I made the batter that's in the mold. And then it took another half an hour for it to be thick enough to pipe, which makes no sense because the stuff that's in the mold set up like crazy when I stick blended it, and I stick blended the green piping mixture. So that's just how soap goes. You never really can be too sure how your soaping day is going to go because it's chemistry, right? So, um, it's probably, I put more green in this. Something about my piping mixture is different than the batter in the mold. So I'm going to speed this up while you watch me pipe rosettes on the top. Hope you enjoy. So there you have it. I'm ready to set it aside now. I'm going to put it in the freezer overnight. I don't like letting my milk soaps gel. I like the appearance of them without gelling. It's just, to me, it's more attractive. So I'm going to leave this in the freezer overnight, then take it out, and it will sit for a few days, and then we'll be back for the cutting. So we're back now. 70 took me, I let it sit for 3 days. So what I do is, spent a night in the freezer so it didn't hit gel phase. It didn't overheat. You'll never really know that till you start cutting it. So I'm hopeful that it didn't gel. So here's my soap out of the mold with I'm happy with the topping. It had that, green mint look I wanted. All I wanted was a little bit of extra volume. So you can see I got that. It's the 4-pound mold plus a touch of a little extra floof flare on the top. So I could have done that with the spoon, but I am not happy with my work with the adding texture with the spoon. So this year I decided to try piping. Now I like to use the crinkle cutter for my milk soaps. I like that sort of homestead look, more of an earthy look, because as I mentioned earlier, my goat's milk soaps are like my natural soaps. That's just what I have going on in my product line. The goat's milk, more natural soaps, and then my water-based soaps, I get into artisan creative ideas. So here's my touch of swirl inside. I'm happy with it. It took 3 days to harden. So you may have seen that the end was cut. What I do is it sits on the counter and I poke it and act very impatient. And when I feel it's ready, I cut off the end to check, if it cuts well. So I'm going to speed this up because they're pretty much all the same. It gets kind of boring from here. A couple of them you'll see later that I cut in the other direction. I actually decided that I like it that way. What I'm working here is a miter box. My crinkle cutter doesn't fit in the area that I would use for cutting a straight line. So I modify it here where I use the box to guide and cut these as straight as I can. And at one point here, I decided that maybe I'd be more successful at a straight cut if I turned it on its side. And it wasn't much better, but It's kind of an interesting look. So I think from now on, I think I might cut them all the other way. With these natural soaps, I am not really so unhappy if they're rustic looking like this. A little bit crooked, a little bit off. They're not all the same because that's the whole point behind my goat's milk soaps is that they're the natural. They're for my customers who are looking for a natural soap, tired of chemicals and unhealthy things on their skin. So they want something pure and natural. That's what these are. They usually I cut the other way. I like that. That's kind of neat, isn't it? So I think in the future I might cut an entire batch like that. Just give it a different look. There, I messed. I tortured that one. That's terrible. Oh well. That's what makes it homemade. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.